So we can tell you about this.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. Before we start, I'll give you like a brief intro about the assembly and of our speaker. So the assembly, we are a smart lab and we're a makerspace. We started off in 2014, and since then we've had over 350 free workshops that we host for anyone to join. Now, we have a mission of building a collaborative tech community in Dubai, and it's something that we've been working on for the past 8 years. We have different types of workshops. There are 3 main categories. So we have HAP, which includes embedded systems, IoT, usage of hardware devices like Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and this is something that we provide for you guys. So you get to experience the whole tech. But then we also have code workshops, which are mainly around software. And this is where the attendees will only bring your laptops, install your software, and that's it. And then we also have data science, and this focuses on intelligence and machine learning. Overall, we cover topics like IoT, robotics, 3D printing, AR, virtual reality, cloud computing, and so much more. Now, our members of the audience are students, they are professionals, they are entrepreneurs, and everyone in the community is welcome to join. We're excited to have all of you guys here. Now, our focus is smart technology and practical applications. We want to help you learn something new, build something new, or even just expand on your already existing knowledge. You can actually follow us on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Make Smart Things, which is also our mission statement. And you can also check out our website at eassembly.ae. Now, our speaker today, we have Ruslan Karimov, who has been in the field of creative and event technology for the past 2 decades. In 2022, he started mimic.digital to create a metaverse-ready platform for experiential content. Ruslan is also an expert in designing and architecture for real-time communication projects for the modern web, using technologies like AWS, WebGL, and decentralized apps. Over the years, he has worked as an interactive director for NER Lab, and he's also the CEO of Webrtc. So
I used to be the CEO.
that's an incredible achievement.
Thank you.
Excited.
Thank you.
Passing it over to you. So
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
First of all, thank you for Zaya. We started this assembly because the whole idea of building something like this was to be able to learn and talk about exponential technologies. Because there is no such place where you can go and learn. If you're in a school, probably. If you're not in a school, well, then you're probably not learning. And you create a space where you could actually touch, feel, work with technology. And I want to thank Ruslan especially.
Thank you.
As the founder of Assembly. The biggest supporters we have is people like yourselves.
Thank you.
From the community to come and share their knowledge. For free, all our workshops, all our initiatives are completely free for the community. We do not believe in charging, we believe in imparting knowledge, sharing it. And thanks to people like you that we're able to do that.
Thank you very much. Guys, can you hear me properly? Thank you very much. Can you hear me on the back and the front? The voice is okay? Okay. I think metaverse is a big topic, right? Like we've heard it from every single corner I think we are going into now. I'm coming from a background of not a metaverse. I'm coming from a tech background, right? And for us in the tech world, I'm a programmer by hobby who started a business a long time back in 2010 in Dubai. And before that, I was working for different companies. I don't like to show off myself in any way, right? I always like to be behind the scenes with my tech team, and when I let salespeople to actually lead the conversation. So I never speak in public. I don't speak in public actually a lot. But instead, what we are doing with my team is we are building different products, which when being executed in real world, right? I mean, if you are living in Dubai for the past 15 years, I think you faced at least like, I think 20 to 30 of our projects being set up in different places. because we are working as an event tech company. So this is what I've started in 2010. For me to understand, I want to understand like who is a student and do you have a tech background, guys? Or can you just raise a hand for me if you can? Who is a programmer actually, like who actually programs the code? Okay, you do program, I know you. Okay, who is actually a tech entrepreneur or a person who is about thinking to start a startup? Okay, cool, clear. Okay. I'm gonna talk today about metaverse, not from what it's gonna be in terms of graphics, what it's gonna be in terms of social meaning of a metaverse. I'm really gonna go hardcore, but without any code. Hardcore on what is metaverse about from the perspective of the tools, right? What actually technology which enables the metaverse? What technology you can use today, some SDKs, some projects to look, to get inspiration. And this is what we are going to talk about. And I think let me just start. Let's go. So the first question to you, and I think if someone just can raise the one or two hands, I want to understand, how do you imagine the metaverse? Who can answer that question? Does anyone has an answer? I mean, how do you imagine a metaverse? Like, imagine we are 10 years from now. So what is a metaverse? So what do you do? Okay, go. Yeah. Okay, so VR glasses, a world. I mean, is it a single world or it's a many world? Many world. Okay, cool. So VR glasses. So it just, I mean, like, how do we interact with metaverse, right? So this is, I think, a question. So today we are, I think, at the stage when there are 4 technologies available in front of us. There is an AR, right, which is, we are going to talk about it. There is a VR, which is we are in the middle of, I think, VR revolution. But in reality, how many of you have VR devices? I mean, I have a lot, but I mean, like, so one person, like, because most of the things we are using today is like just our phone, right? I mean, our point of interaction with anything digital, it's our phone, right? So I mean, this is what we are exactly all about. So that's a question of how do you access it, right? So I mean, like, you access it through a phone today, and it's only because it's comfortable. I mean, it's not that VR today can provide a lot of things, but we are not using it because it's not even the price, right, for all of us. It's just complicated for now. That answers that question. So, okay, so what is, let's answer, I think, together the question, what is metaverse? So, I mean, this is the cover of this month's Times Magazine. It's going to be all about metaverse. There is one dude, his name is Matthew Ball. If you haven't heard about him, write it down. Matthew Ball, his new book, Metaverse, is going to be the next thing. I mean, he explains quite a lot. I start reading, I finished one chapter, and when I start building that presentation, so I kind of going to finish it at a bit at a later stage. So Metaverse is a 3D internet, but let's dig a little bit deeper. So at this stage, there is no definition, there is no description. So everyone is trying to come up with their own terms, but let's kind of summarize it, right? I mean, and how and what they do. So when few months back, I think not few months back, I think half a year back maybe, when the Meta was announced, I'm like, I went to the YouTube, I watched what Amazon thinks about it, what Microsoft thinks about it, what Apple thinks about it. And what I realized, that every leader depends on their company capabilities, describes the metaverse in a way that they actually understand it, right? Or they want to sell it. So for metaverse, for Microsoft, for example, it's going to be something that they can actually introduce as a app canvas, right? Because we are all into the apps, and this is their infrastructure in their corporate world. If you are talking about Mark Zuckerberg, I mean, we know who is this, right? If someone doesn't know who Mark is, it's the director of CEO, founder of Facebook, which is Meta now. There are some people who don't know Mark Zuckerberg, right? So we are talking about, for him, it's going to be everything to do with social, right? So I mean, like it's pushing the social spectrum into it, and there is a big war happening now in media when he wants to cannibalize the metaverse. Like metaverse is just him and etc. I think it's just all the fluff, but he's the one who started the metaverse. To me, I mean, he's the one who actually was brave enough to kick off. How it will end up being, we will see. I mean. And then there is a quote from Matthew Ball, which I kind of more closer to. So we are talking about a 3D internet of a future. So in future, when you don't need to, for example, to use maybe most probably your mobile device, you will be able to jump into a full immersive 3D world, right? Which will be called a metaverse. Like we call internet today, is going to be called a metaverse. There is no such thing as metaverses, right? Please, I mean, don't use it. Don't. I mean, it's just you don't say internet, right? I mean, so metaverse is the one thing which is going to unite all of us. There are different aspects into it. Potentially, there's going to be a new economy which is going to drive it. Potentially, it's going to be a new. I mean, it's going to be definitely a lot of different technologies which is going to drive it. A lot of projects, a lot of new protocols, and I think the biggest challenge today is for, I think, mostly for the large companies to get together and to establish the open standards, so all of us can actually use those open standards to use and build for a metaverse, right? This is what we are trying to do. We will touch base. I wanted to talk here about identity, but I think I'll skip it because I think I'm talking too much. So let's talk about what metaverse work. I had like 120 slides, so I tried to shorten it to 60 slides. So let's see how 60 slides go. So how metaverse works, right? So today's technology is all about real time, right? I mean, I'm not sure if you know what real time is on a web, but that persistent connection, right? I mean, like what makes TikTok work an instant thing, right? So you open up and you see a video. What makes Zoom works? What makes any of our point of interaction? We are so used to it, so I think we forgot what it used to be like even 5 years back. When you click on a page, you wait for 7-8 seconds. For you, it's now not working anymore, right? I mean, like it's like you open up. If it doesn't open in 2 seconds, that's it. It's gone, right? So you go into the next one, right? So this is how it is today. So metaverse, imagine the 3D content now, right? So a 3D content, like how much power and what kind of tech actually the metaverse would need to actually drive all that traffic. If you know Spotify, they started in 2010. You know Spotify, right? You're all using Spotify. So they started in 2010. They intentionally didn't scale immediately big because they wanted to make sure that the experience for the user is going to be instant, right? So we didn't go to the big brands, we didn't go to the big recording studios, we started small, right? So we went just step by step to make sure that experience remained the same with the amount of people they get. And I'm not sure if they're still profitable, but I mean, they are profitable for sure. Yeah, so metaverse needs to build a lot of layers for this to be working right well. And those are the layers. So I think we are at the stage when cryptocurrency came into place. If it's going to be part of metaverse or not, I have no idea. Right? I think no one knows. I think it's down to the regulations, right? There is a security and privacy, so we are having multiple layers. So I mean, there are 4 of them, and each of a segments like devices. You have different projects, platforms, which allows you to build a metaverse, right? I'm trying to build one, for example. And then there are applications which gonna be sitting in your on your phone, which allow you a quick, easy access to it, right? So those are the layers of metaverse. I took that screenshot from the report McKinsey. It's a very short report, so get it in, go through it. It has depth in it, so I mean, you will learn it. We will touch base on some of them, but not on all of them. I mean, it's going to be a one-day conversation, right? Otherwise. So we are going to talk about infrastructure, we are going to talk about devices, we are going to talk about communication, and that all makes it up a metaverse ecosystem. So this is another report. Yeah, you have it. So this is the metaverse ecosystem today, right? So I think it's already thousands and thousands of projects which make it sense. I mean, don't screenshot it, just write the name New Zoo report. You will get it online. It's also a big report. It's available if you submit your email, right? So, and here we are talking different aspects. I mean, if you look at the layers before, I mean, that's what makes up, those companies are make up today. And I think it's not even half here, right? Because I think definitely the guys don't know the ones which hasn't started yet. And I think there are now 10,000s of projects which are kicking off. And this is a blockchain ecosystem, right? And the blockchain ecosystem is a completely different system, I would say, because two economies is clashing now, and we are, I think, facing the new different paradigm when it's either gonna shift or not, right? I mean, we'll see how it goes about it. So let's continue. So this is part of a report, you can check it out. I want to start from visual side of metaverse, and metaverse is going to consist of different virtual worlds, right? But since we are, as I promised you, we are talking about tech, so I'm not going to talk about the actual projects. You can find out projects, metaverse projects, top 10, top 20, top 50, and you will find them online, right? I will show you what we as a company who asked by big corporations to build their online experiences, what we are asked for to do and what we discovered ourselves. So there are three different types of delivery, right, today, of 3D content online. And they all have their own advantages, disadvantages, challenges, and etc. So number one, we are talking about native apps. So let's say you are a Unity developer, Unreal developer, you are building the app, right? It all looks beautiful, and then you deploy it into the App Store, right? So, I mean, you don't have any other means, like maybe with Unity you do, I mean, but then it becomes a WebGL, right, project. So you upload it to the App Store, and your challenge here is a control, right? So you're not in control of your app. So in general, if it's a Google Play, then Google is in control. If they can remove it, and it doesn't matter for them how popular it is, right? If they don't like it, they're gonna remove it. Or if they launch their own product with the same idea you have, I mean, your app is gonna, will not have any more hits. And this is why blockchain is so attractive, right, for a lot of people, and blockchain gaming and etc. So second part is pixel streaming. What is pixel streaming? So we are talking about a large infrastructure worldwide, and it took us time to have phones in everyone's hand, right? So it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you are in Dubai, it doesn't matter if you are in India, in Russia, in a village, and etc. But what matters is speed of internet and how powerful your device is, right? So you can open a normal standard web page, but what you cannot open is, and it depends on your internet how fast it's gonna load, right? So the pixel streaming is a technology which solves at least your device capabilities, right? So if you have a good internet, right, and you want to look at the very cool 3D content, so processing is done on a cloud, and then a video stream is on your phone. So your phone actually doesn't do any processing. This is a pixel streaming, right? So I mean, so you stream in, you look at the beautiful content, you navigate. But if your internet is bad, then it's gonna have a lag, right? Because you are still streaming a video. It can be an HD, it's gonna be 720, it's gonna be 480, so it drop down, alter 360 till you go like, next, right? So this is how it goes. So and it comes at a cost because you are running a cloud processing system, and with scale of 1 million, I mean, it's kind of subjective how much you're going to pay. So it's very expensive. And there is the WebGL. WebGL to me, is the most open standard. That's why it's my personal preference choice, right? To build using a WebGL, WebGPU technologies and using a JavaScript. The advantage is it's very lightweight. It's going to work on mobile, it's going to work on the desktop, it's going to work everywhere you want. It's accessible through a web browser, which everyone has, but you don't have your super tools, right? Like Unity and Unreal, where you can create a beautiful reflections, shadows, and etc. So WebGL is going to bring you the basic graphics. We are running experiments ourselves on to improve the quality, so it looks at least closer to what clients are going to expect, right? I mean, but it's still a question. How much effort you need to put in order to achieve a result. I have a friend of mine who works for an agency, and we were brainstorming with him a lot of ideas on how to explain to people in one chart what metaverse is all about. And we came up with a metaverse consideration matrix. I mean, I advised him, and he actually created the rest. So we are talking about all different aspects, right? What makes the metaverse. So on the programming side, when you build it, it's either a single use, then you just create a code, throw it away, right? Or, I mean, it's being used by a single company for forever, right? Multi-purpose programmable, this is when you are talking about a certain SDKs or a certain platform which allows you to program within, right? And when you release the application. Or you have platforms like Decentraland, you have other platforms which allow you in-house program everything. I think we are going to cover a lot of those in the next slides. I just wanted to show you, and I will show you later on a couple of examples how, for example, Roblox fits within this, right? Specific experiences, let's say, how we fit into that. So in the beginning, I was thinking like, oh my God, like I will prepare my top favorite 10 metaverses and metaverses, right? I'm gonna prepare it and I'm like gonna smash it. And then I'm like start thinking about like what my top 10, and I realized there is no such thing as the top 10, right? It really depends on what you actually need, right? Like in real life, I think it's about dress, right, as well. Like if you're going to a presentation, I mean, yeah, don't look at me, but if you're going to doing a sport, you are gonna put a sport shoes, sport dress, right? And it's the same thing with metaverses. If you're looking for educational piece, like study it, like you'll go to a specific one, right? So if you are looking at the financial one, then it's going to be a completely different thing. So instead, I kind of like scratched that idea out. There is no top 10. I decided to go with the creators approach. So creators approach is like something what exists now online. So you, when you walk out from this classroom, you can go in and start building immediately, right? I mean, you don't need anything. Like that's what I did. Like I do a research while the team is working. I'm like, click, download Roblox Studio, smash, smash, smash. Yeah, it works. I mean, like you don't need even a programming knowledge, right? You need a logical knowledge. Like in most of the tools, you need just a logic to actually build because they make it available. They want to scale up, right, themselves, those projects. So let's go. Decentraland, right? So Decentraland has something called Builder. You open up a browser, you have all your tools on the right side, you jump in, it's a WebGL, drag, 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 live screen, textures, and etc. If you want to make beautiful things, of course, I mean, maybe you can either buy it or import it, or use the Blender Cinema 4D just to design it, right? And then import the different formats. We will talk about formats at a later stage. There are some formats which metaverse, I believe they will become metaverse native, not yet, right? What surprised me in Decentraland, if you are using a JavaScript and you don't want to do just basic things, you can pretty much create anything you want, right? So they have a very strong library, very deep, but you need to understand the JavaScript, right? If you want to do something basic, just a walking experience, then you don't need any programming, then you can just create it. But if you know a little bit of programming, you can get existing snippets of a code and just pop it in. And then it can end up looking like this, right? So I mean, the Samsung did, I just Googled it, right? I mean, there are a lot of experiences. I personally was on Absolute experience as an event. We had some challenges, but it was still cute, right? I wouldn't say it was the most effective. The best one I saw till date, you will see later on. Sandbox. Sandbox is a blockchain, full blockchain project, right? So it's a competition between Minecraft and Sandbox, if you look at it. But I mean, of course, Minecraft belongs to Microsoft, so you cannot compete with it in general. But what Minecraft did, I think a week back, they blocked NFTs inside their system because you can program in Minecraft, right? So that actually boosted a Sandbox further, right? Sandbox has two applications. So they created a full economy. I mean, who knows what the land sale and how the blockchain land sales work? Well, blockchain, you don't know, right? Okay, I think let me cover first that part. You know where the metaverse term came first in place? No. Do you know the book called Snow Crash? Yeah, okay, it's just, I mean, so it first appeared, I think it was in 55 or something. So there was a book. In that book, you had the term metaverse appeared. And in that book, there was an explanation of how future economy is going to work. And pretty much what blockchain projects do today, the ones who are doing the land sales, so they create virtual worlds. They tell you, okay, listen, we have that map. That map consists of small spots. You can buy your spot, be an owner of that spot, and own the digital asset, right? Which is backed up by your, let's say, license, which is the NFT. Then you can rent out that asset to other people, or you can build yourself within that asset, right? So this is how the blockchain real estate works today, right? And Sandbox is one of the examples, but they took it to another level. Why it is so popular? Because within Sandbox, I mean, it's a name, within that land, you have a community of creators, community of users who wants to jump into different experiences, play small games, earn some crypto, and there are brands on another side who wants to take the advantage of the community, right? So I mean, this is how pretty much it works. And you, as a person who is an entrepreneur, you are gonna, okay, I'll buy that land. I either just rent it, or I build myself some nice experience and I will be renting out that experience to people. So Sandbox, they added two different layers into it. One layer is you can build your game, so it's called Sandbox Studio, right? Yeah, I think it's called Studio. So Sandbox Maker, right? So you can build your game, and then you have Vox Edit. Vox Edit allows you to create a project. So you are kind of creating a marketplace of different items, smart items or just normal 3D items out of small voxels, right? So you just drag and drop boxes like in Minecraft. You create your objects and then you put it on the market to sell to other people who don't want to actually design. They just want to drag and drop into their game worlds, right? So this is how a sandbox works. I had a friend of mine. He has, I think, 11 years old son, and he actually makes money on inside the sandbox by just designing the small 3D objects and just dumping it into the system. So this is how a game designer looks like. It took me, I think, 1 hour just to figure out. Very natural, let's say, to a human to design it. And once you design it, you can, on the right side in the properties, you can add up the logic. So you don't need anyone. I mean, you don't need any programmers. You don't need any extra specific knowledge to actually build it. And a lot of projects make it very accessible to build it, right? If you are into the most entry point, but this is one of my favorite projects, especially on educational side. It's not about the ecosystem of crypto. It's not about like building up your worlds, but it's about communication. It's about the tools. So if you want to run a class like this, right, online, you can have fun with a project called FrameVR. I was chatting to the owner, they are in US, and you can do quite a lot, and it's surprising that no one actually knows about it, so I decided to bring it up here. Like, check it out, it's actually good. It's highly functional, but it has specific look, right? I mean, it's a 3D optimized low poly look, but you can make it, you can push it to the limits, right? So it's quite fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's very, very functional. You can chat, you can import the objects, you can invite your friends, you can live stream, you can do quite a lot of things. They don't pay me for promotion, yeah. No, no, no. You can access it through a desktop, mobile, and on a VR headset, FrameVR. The Sandbox is an app, so it's just a desktop or mobile. I'm not sure even like if you have mobile yet. Decentraland, it's everywhere. So this is how an experience looks like inside that environment. Now, there is, I think, a big debate happening right now. Whenever, what do we call, which virtual world do we call a metaverse? Or which one we don't call a metaverse, right? I mean, is Roblox a metaverse? I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a world online, you have a sense of presence inside, you have your currency, economy system inside. Yeah, I mean, it is, right? Is Fortnite is? I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, like, can you do something inside there? In Roblox, you can, for sure, right? But in Fortnite, can you? I mean, like, that's another question, right? So, to me, again, I just placed here the projects where you can create yourself. So Roblox has a very strong tool which allows you to build a full-fledged games, right? So it's up to you how you build them. Then there is another project, Horizon Worlds, everyone knows. If you don't have US or Canadian citizenship or credit card, I mean, forget about it. Like, Horizon Worlds is not open for us yet. To the second, third, fourth world countries, I think this is the Mark's vision at this stage, I think. And there is a massive, like, I didn't know about this project, Webrtc. That project is the most popular in US as well right now. Because Roblox is kind of number one, the best is like kind of number two. I didn't know about it till my guys from who are actually building a metaverse spaces, designing it. We're like, Ruslan, like, this is insane. I'm like, what makes it like stand out in front of everyone else? Why people are coming? Like, they mainly have fashion brands in it, and I'll explain to you later why. I have a separate slide on that. So Roblox, going back into the chart, like the absolute experience which I mentioned for you. So this is how it falls into the chart. So it's an interactive journey. So we had interactive points where you can collect NFTs within. It's a public. It's decentralized because it was running on Decentraland, and it's a Web3 generation because it's a full blockchain community, right? If you are talking about experience, so it worked only on the desktop. It was having a low poly graphics, and it was a single use. So then, as a brand, they rented a space in Decentraland to run that promotion for I think it was for a day, even like maybe for a couple of days, and then they took it off because it's too expensive, right? To rent a space in Decentraland. Another example, and this is my most favorite. So I was like, yeah, metaverse experiences is like fine, like surprised me, right? So I went to the Nike land, and I actually spent, like, without feeling it, like around 1.5 hours just running around collecting the different clothes for my avatar, and that surprised me after I actually finished it, right? So in the beginning I was like, yeah, my expectation was very low. I was thinking that, like in any other world, even the absolute world, I would jump into the space, I would click a couple of things, I would look at the Nike things, but they made it, and I think they spent at least a year building it. Like, it's a massive world with a lot of areas, with a lot of fun. And it kind of sucks you into that experience by giving you those small things like what your avatar achieves, and then you can kind of see yourself with the new Nike shoes, with the new things, but only after you, for example, run a full circle, right? Or after you will visit certain space and etc. So that was quite cool. That's the number one experience for me, which I saw in the metaverse so far. Like I'm talking about interactive experience, right? And it falls into public, custom, Web 2, because it's a Roblox. We are not on a blockchain. You could experience it. Oh, I mean, it's in VR headset. I didn't know. I was playing it on a desktop, for example. Community driven, yes. I would say it was maybe like between low poly and mid poly, and you could customize the avatar. And this is another advantage of a Roblox, but we will talk about avatars. We have a very different ways of customizing avatars compared to other metaverses. So, question for you: how to start building, right? So I mean, this is I'm wrapping up. So here you go. If you want to go hardcore, learn Unreal, learn Unity. Unity needs to have a proper programming knowledge of C#, so you need to learn first the programming knowledge, right? Programming language. CG tools, I think Blender and Cinema 4D are the most advanced at this stage, but some people might disagree with me. If you know some tool which can export GLB, FBX, then use that tool, right? If you are coming from a web world, the JavaScript, and Unity is here because Unity also does a WebGL, then go into the JavaScript libraries, right? I mean, there are a lot of JavaScript libraries, and some, if you don't know JavaScript, it's very easy to learn as well. I mean, like, it's not that it's a super complicated thing. I personally found very useful to use a product called Play Canvas, because it's not just coding. Like in 3JS and Babylon.js, you code stuff, and then you see in a preview. In Play Canvas, you actually have a 3D editor, like in Unreal Engine, like on 3D Max or Maya or Cinema 4D. And then you can add the JavaScript code on the side. So that made for me, more attractive, because I can send same project to my design team, saying like design, to my development team develop, and it all in front of my screen like popping up, right? And I like to get my hands even dirty myself, like coding something, testing something, and then guys have to rewrite it several times. So let's continue to the interesting beginnings, let's say, right? I wouldn't go through what is blockchain, when it started, what it is. Everyone knows what Bitcoin is, but apart from Bitcoin, there are a lot of other tokens which do different things. I'm not going to talk about the economy, how it changes the mindset, what it allows you to do, but I will only mention one thing if you don't know what blockchain is. Today, we are living in different countries using different currencies, where government decides what currency you have to use, where government decides that it has a central bank which controls the flow of the money. Cryptocurrencies and blockchain, on a blockchain, they have a complete freedom. You are your own central bank, you control your own flows, right? I think I will stop at that, because otherwise it's going to go very, very deep, right? So, the biggest question, I think, on a blockchain and metaverse, I think we need to answer today, and no one knows the answer, I think. Does new internet, the 3D internet, needs a new economy? If it does, then it's definitely a blockchain crypto. If traditional financial institutions will adapt up to the extent that it can bring that flexibility and quickness, let's say, on setting up, then potentially, and if it's not a crypto, I don't know, then we don't, right? I mean, it's all a question. I remember my early days in UAE when I was like, oh, I will start some online e-commerce startup and etc. etc. I was like, oh my God, paywall. I mean, like, it takes months to actually set up anything, right? Now, I'm in Stripe, like half a day later, you are on, right? Or I mean, even better, like crypto, I mean, a few hours later you are on, right? I mean, like, it's a pace, right? It's a question of a pace. When it comes to the blockchain and the reality of what benefits it actually brings, apart from being an economy and currency and a payment method, for us, in our business, I found a couple of projects which actually made it much easier, right? So one is video processing. So video processing is a process when you are streaming now from OBS, me to YouTube, right? What happens? You take a signal, you send it to YouTube. YouTube has servers. Servers have a lot of people watching it from the edge servers, right? Like there are small servers in every country. What some projects in the blockchain do, they make it even more affordable, and instead of running a huge servers which belong to Google, they run it on the people's devices. So in other words, you receive a signal from here to your device, and if I'm next to you, I'm sending you those packets into your device, and if more people are watching, so faster it becomes, and people who are providing their service, those edge service, right, they're also getting benefits. So it's kind of, you are the owner, contributor to that project, and you get benefits out of it, right? So this is what blockchain brought into this. And there are a couple of projects, it's a Livepeer and Theta, which competing with YouTube and Vimeo, right? I mean, at this stage in the blockchain, but I mean, they are that small now compared to YouTube and Vimeo, but let's see how it goes. Now, are you ready for the biggest buzz in the blockchain, NFTs? I'm not gonna talk about apes. I'm not gonna talk about shoes. I'm not gonna talk about any drawings. I'm gonna talk about how they are made, right? And different types of smart contracts which exist in crypto, and what's the difference between them. I think we are all familiar with tokens today, like Ethereum, like Phantom. Those are exchangeable tokens, and they are not NFTs. They are like our currency, 1 dirham for another dirham, and they are called ERC20, right? So ERC20, who knows what ERC? No one knows. Like Ethereum rights to comment, I think it's called, like nothing to do with what it actually does, but never mind. So ERC is, who knows what smart contract is? Okay. Okay. There was a Bitcoin, right? The digital root of everything, of all cryptocurrencies. And then there was a guy, Vitalik Buterin, who said, you know what, guys? You want to exchange online your currencies, right? But what if I don't want to pay right now, I want to pay later, or after you finish something, so how to sort out those things, I mean? And he said, why don't we create something called smart contract, which allows you to automate the process within online, within the digital realm, right? This is how the smart contracts came into place. Then it's extended into NFTs. If normal currencies you can exchange one for one, NFTs you can exchange one for one because they are unique, right? So I mean, each one is a different one, right? So this is what makes NFT unique. And sorry, semi-fungible? Yeah. Yes. How do they fit? Let me answer that. Yeah, I will answer that. So, but the short answer, yeah, you can. It's going to be still separate contracts in general. So, with a smart contract, the revolution started. right? A massive revolution which made the impossible things possible, and the NFTs are sorting out the trust issues online. This is what NFT does, right? For a lot of people, it's just a marketing buzz, but there is a functionality into it. And it all started for NFTs with ERC 721 contract, which allows you to mint one single piece, let's say, in a single contract, right? But it became, by time, so congested that the fees to transfer were too expensive. So people came up with ERC 1155, which allows you to use one contract for multiple, let's say, mints, right? So this is what ERC 1155 means. And I'm not sure if it's recently or not recently, but I think it was like even like less than a month ago, ERC 4907 became into a power, which I think sorts out the trust issues on the rental side. So you as an owner of NFT, you can give your NFT for rent now, right? And then you will specify a time when you will get your NFT back, right? So I mean, if you will apply it to a real world, if you are renting a house today and you want to put it on the blockchain, this is where smart contract you'll be using, right? And then somebody from maybe police will be notified to kick the tenant out, I don't know, right? So I mean, you can automate a lot of processes. Yeah, yeah. Definitely, 100%. I think the uses are enormous. Like, I don't know even like, I see the potential, and I think everyone sees the potential, and everyone is like trying to play around with technology to see where does it fit, because it solves certain real life examples. For me, we are experimenting with one project now, and we are going to use 721 contract. It's called a wrapped contract. So when you are in one contract, you can wrap different tokens, fungible and non-fungible. We are doing experiment on something very simple. You come online, you type in your name. It's a JavaScript WebGL. You put your coins and you send it to a friend as a gift, right? So you can put your NFT, or you can put your actual several different types of tokens, like 01 BTC, 10 Phantoms, 1 NFT from OpenSea, and you can give it as a present of a gift. And then person receives that card, he opens up, and this is how it's going to work, right? So you get into, you are wrapping multiple tokens on a web page into one single contract, which is going to be a 721 contract, and then it reaches a person, he's unwrapping it and receives all those benefits. NFTs. If you are, there are different things. If you are trying to just learn how to create an NFT, go to a coin tool. This is even where I created my token, right? cointool.app. You go in, you click a couple of things. I mean, you need a wallet, and you're done, right? If you are looking to see what NFTs are, you can go to OpenSea. It has a library, so you can actually do all what CoinTool does, but in OpenSea you will be minting it, right? So you can discover what other people as well do. If you are into actually building an app, right, and implementing your app things, when use engine, Zilliqa, or Third Web, this is what I'm using now. Very comfortable if you know JavaScript, especially. Like, this is the thing. NFT.io. The promise is huge. This project hasn't started yet, and we are gonna kick off, I think, somewhere this year, and we are promising that they will create such a unique UX interface that it will become very easy to actually do anything to do with NFTs. I mean, they will make it like very simple, but at the same time, at the core, it will still hold the technology, right? I don't know what and how, but let's see. A lot of gamers use engine at this stage because they made it very comfortable to, from the user interface perspective, to approach the blockchain of NFTs, right? So this is all on NFT side. Yeah. But it's not, I mean, okay. let me explain. There is a core difference, right? There is a core difference between who owns what. So imagine a situation. Let's say I'm a brand which holds today and gave my reward cards to everyone, right? I gave my reward cards to everyone, and then at one point of time, I'm just scratch it out, close the company, and leave, right? In a blockchain, it's going to be more complicated. I mean, at the point of time when you own 10 points, it's those 10 points actually sitting on those companies' cards. I'm talking about real world now, right? So those 10 points actually just a record in a database on a company's settings, not on your card. With blockchain, it's actually in your card, in your possession. So that's the main difference, and that's why people are so pushing for a blockchain, and that a lot of things are picking up on a gaming industry specifically, because they are trying to push the idea, blockchain trying to push the idea to the game studios that people who are playing the games today, they don't actually, and then you are spending money in the games, right? Like you're buying different clothes. I mean, your kids may be buying clothes. Maybe I'm like playing, for example, League of Legends, right? And I bought multiple skins inside the game. Like I spent maybe through past few years, I don't know, like 2,000 dirhams. And if my account gets blocked, all those assets are gone. But with a blockchain NFT, if they will be as NFTs, they will sit in my wallet. So then I can actually sell it to anyone I want. So it's an ownership thing. So you actually own in your own wallet those assets. Does it answer the question? No. Yeah, mana. Yeah, mana. I will answer, but that's complicated. It's called if it's shut down, it depends if it's actually rugged pulled or not. it has. Yeah, I will answer. It has several answers actually. I will answer that at a later stage. After the event, I can answer this. Yeah. Communication in the metaverse. And again, I'm not going to talk about how actually people talk in metaverse, right? I'm going to talk about the tech. So there are four different types of communication. At least this is what I found out, right? So you have text chats, you have voice, you have video, you have body language of your avatar, right, in the metaverse. And for each metaverse, it's not that you need all. In Zepeto, they don't use a voice by default, right? They use the text chat, and most of the people, even in the Roblox, if you'll find yourself in a metaverse, public metaverse, in a lot of cases, you will see that the text chat actually is more than enough, right? In some not. I mean, we are building the corporate metaverse projects, and in the corporate metaverse, the audio spatial language is a crucial thing, right? For example, but not in a lobby, just in the auditorium or in a networking space, right? So, I mean, it's up to you to decide how you are doing it. So, what are the challenges in communication? One second. So challenges are very simple. You have latency. Latency is a thing what allows me to reach another person on another part of the world in the internet, right? So there is some acceptable latency and not acceptable. So acceptable latency is 250 milliseconds. This is what human considers to be real time, real life, right? There are device preferences, right, when it comes to communication, and each one has its own unique abilities, quality, and language. So those four things which are the common cases for, common challenges for things to actually work in metaverse. So how they are sorted out at this stage. So latency is sorted out by actually two things. One is, yeah, both of them are here. there are a lot of edge servers. There is a localized traffic. So I mean, if I'm calling, for example, someone within UAE, I will not be going through US, right? So I mean, I'll have some local edge servers. If I'm talking to someone in Russia, for example, right? So it will find the closest proximity server. So it will make sure that the route is the shortest, right? And etc. When it comes down to device preference and quality, I think it's a thing works together. Apple, for example, is famous for its security, right? I mean, if you saw the Apple campaign for the past 1 year, like we're like the most secure phone ever and etc., right? But what are the consequences of this for technology and for a person who actually builds things to be working on an iOS device? On the metaverse side, we faced an issue with the limit of the size of a file. So you cannot actually have more than 60 megabyte WebGL project sitting on your Safari, right? I mean, that's one. Second is your cookies are just stored, or local storage as cookies stored for 1 day now, right? So this is how it works. I mean, this is our challenge. And for real-time communication, it brings up a lot of challenges. Apple has their own proprietary codecs, and some work, some doesn't work, right? So they actually applying a restriction. They don't allow a certain thing which actually doesn't work. So for you, some things become completely impossible, right? Compared to running it on all the rest of the devices. So this is why I'm saying like it needs to have an open standards where Google, Apple, Meta, AWS, I mean, Chinese people with Tencent and Alibaba, I'm not sure. Yeah, they have their own world, right? Living, same as Russia, they have their own world. So we need to get together, and there is a movement happening. There is a group called Kronos, and our company part of it, where NVIDIA is there, Meta is there. So it's 1,500 companies at this stage. We come together to discuss, right, what the future of open standard is going to be. If it's going to work out, if my voice is actually like means anything to the large corporations, I don't know. We'll see. And there are a lot of companies like of different sizes inside, right? On the language side, I wouldn't go deep. There are a lot of real-time translation modules, text translation modules, and etc. you can face. Like we are personally using the Google or Amazon Translate in our applications. So it has some Neuralink automated on 63 languages translation, which actually works. Not always, but works. But you can correct it. So, if you are voice translation or text, voice. Voice. I mean, from there are some applications which around. I don't know. Sorry. Like yeah, I'm not using it. Yeah, I mean, see, I'm a very good technology creator, but if you'll ask me the latest trend, for example, I mean, I follow up certain trends, right, for sure. But if you'll ask me like about certain apps, like I would be clueless because it's either in the responsibility of certain people in my team, or it's maybe it hasn't reached me yet. Wait, use translation AI. AWS is translation AI? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's possible to have the immediate translation because the neural systems, right, neuron networks are evolving so fast that it becomes possible. I see the reality. Like in our case, we start using, for marketing campaign, I was like sitting with my video editing guy and I told him like, you know what, let's not actually hire an actor. Let's send it to the network and just let the person actually read for us. And then we were choosing the voices and etc., playing with it. When it comes down to the actual implementation, if you are programming something yourself or if you are looking to implement something, the entry for you is going to be DailyCo. DailyCo allows you to set up your own Zoom in a matter of minutes. So if you want to have your own video chat system right now, you go inside, and 5 minutes later you can talk with anyone in the world using your own chat system and pay for it. So no one else actually has access to it. If you are programming your application, use Phaton. Agora is another huge thing. I have my developer who spent 3 months on Agora here, and he was like, and afterward I'm like, you know what? I think we are scratching it out, and I'm not sure till date how he felt about it. So yeah, there are 3 different techniques online, right? When we are talking about it's something called WebRTC and WebSockets, right? And WebRTC is a signaling server which allows us to connect, and it keeps up that persistent connection between us. So you don't spend time on pinging, let's say, right? So there are different 3 different systems, and Mesh is normally what available by default in any web browser, right? But when you come down to a large scale, so you have a meeting of 40 people, 50 people, this is not efficient enough. And people came up with MCU and SFU, which is selected forwarding unit and multi-point control. In reality, it's a server in between which sorts out your signals, right? I mean, that's how it works. I'll show you using those 2 different technologies. We were running an event. Do I need to click? Sorry, 1 second, guys. Oh, okay. My laptop is not ready for a video. Let me go back. Second. Yeah. Okay, here we go. And now I click and let's see what happens. So both of those technologies we bought on, and we used WebSockets here. So we were running, it's called Metaverse on Stage. I'm not sure if it actually, no. I'm trying, I promise you. It's like, I'm good with technology, yeah, when just coding it, but it seems I'm not good with PowerPoint. So let me explain what it was. So you scan a code, and you jump into the metaverse, but your metaverse is on your phone and it's on stage, right? So we had a stage where you can run with your avatar. It was during the event, right? So you can play with your avatar while band is singing and etc. So you could run your avatar and your character on a stage, but your access was through a normal web browser. Another example of it, we are working on our own metaverse editor, which will allow you to build up your spaces. And again, it's all full of WebSockets. It's all full of WebRTC when it will come to a video site. Does that work? No. I'm talking about WebRTC and WebSockets, but do you know how most of our information is consumed by a video, right? I mean, we are consuming a video at this stage. We are not consuming a lot of interactive content unless we are in a certain game. So do you know how video streams work? How they make it efficient to actually work on every device worldwide? Do you? No. So they cut your stream into a small pieces, load it on a server, and send you by packets, right? So that's the old way of streaming a video. The new way of streaming a video is what I showed you earlier, WebRTC, right? So when you actually establish a channel and then you also send the packets, but in a completely different way. Do you know why Zoom is unique? You know Zoom application, right? Everyone uses Zoom, right? Do you? Anyone? No? I mean, Zoom, we took WebRTC and they made something with it. I have no idea. No one knows. I think this is their technology, right? So Zoom works in the worst internet environment. I've used Google Meets. I tried to move away from Zoom because I have a Google infrastructure. I'm on a Discord as well. But the quality of connection Zoom provides, I mean, it's unmatchable. The reliability of connection, let's say, right? It's unmatchable by everyone. Why? Because they did something. I mean, they did something unique, and this is their unique selling point. We've tried. We've tried different applications. I mean, like, it doesn't work. Okay. How much time do I have? How much? Are you bored, or you are okay, right? Yeah, okay, fine. So content in metaverse. So let's talk about the content. So what is the content? We are, I think we are in the beginning of what content could be in a metaverse. And what you see on your screen right now is just part of type of a different pieces we can have in the metaverse, right? So it's avatars, it's a 3D models which you can create worlds, it's images and videos, 2D objects, let's say, inside the metaverse. It's interactive items. It's not, and this is the key, right? That I think that segment is going to grow. By interactive items, I mean that you are in 3D space, you are interacting with something and it does something for you, like rotate, for example. That's a basic example, but then it can have the sequence of different logic to turn the object, for example, into something else. NFTs for sure, and integrated third-party apps, and we faced that a lot in when we are building the corporate environments, right? So when you need to jump into 3D space, but when you need a whiteboard to collaborate together, for example, right? So this is when you integrate third-party apps. So let's start with avatars. And I grabbed different avatars from different systems for you to feel the difference, for you to feel what we're actually all made of. Is there a laser? No. Okay, on the left top, you have Ready Player Me. So Ready Player Me, they became very popular because they said, okay, listen guys, all whoever building the metaverse, we are gonna work only on avatars and we're gonna build avatars comfortable enough for you to use in your projects, right? So we are using, for example, Ready Player Me avatars. But then they start adding extra layers into it. So if you are a brand and if you own a specific NFT, so you can turn your standard avatar into something else. That, for example, was their promotion for deadmau5, right? So you can go into OpenSea, buy that hat, and appear with using that hat in your metaverse environments. And they support at this stage 1,500 different virtual worlds projects. Then there is a completely different approach. Those avatars, they look good, but they're very heavy. So you cannot have, for example, I cannot have more than 50 avatars in a single space. Then I need to divide. So I will go with my batch 50. It doesn't mean that I will have only 50 people in my virtual world. No, I can have thousands, right? But at one point of time, for you, you will see only 50, right? Within your, let's say, multiverse, right? Then there is a Somnium space. Somnium space is another project which is picking up now. They decided to go basic with their own basic approach to avatars, which works. It works for them because that's their functionality. Below you see all the Decentraland, Zepeto, and Roblox. What makes Roblox different is that you can have a lot of different kinds of avatars inside their space. So you design the avatars yourself, and they have a massive library of different clothing, different things like actually matches avatar. In Zepeto, going back to my earlier conversation, the reason most of the fashion brands in Zepeto, because they made it so comfortable and so adjustable up to the smallest details, for example, to put a jewelry on an avatar, to put a clothing on an avatar, to put every single small detail. So they kind of made it a thing, right, inside their metaverse to be that precise. I personally used Zepeto once, but but texturing is good, yeah? I will have a certain style, right? Yeah. The project I'm waiting myself for is a Sogen, if I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it well. So it's a small kind of those type of kitties working together with their own Android things, and it's going to be kind of a gamified metaverse experience. And I think the next few years we will see, I think, but I mean in general, like the gaming industry actually boosts, right, the 3D experiences because they've been in that industry a lot. And I see a lot of interesting games appearing, and I think we will see first a lot of games in the front line, in front of our eyes, I mean, but sometimes we will lose the projects which are maybe only about communication or only about this and that, right? So my list is growing, so I have a chat with different agencies, different friends, and I think every day you have one or two projects like popping in, right? I mean, we do this, we do that, we do this, we do that. There are some really cool projects like Everdome. Do I have them here? Yeah. Everdome is a UAE-based Polish guys who are actually launching the UAE project here, right? There is one more called Soba. So you can create games and make money, right, in it. So 3D models. Yeah? As who? As a creator? I mean, as a user, it depends on what kind of experience you are looking for, not specifically. Like, and as a creator, you need to choose one. You need to choose one because even with a team, we have a company called Space 2, and it's 12 people. In the beginning, we wanted to be everywhere, so we end up realizing that we have to choose one because it's a very different niche, and it's not only about that you can do all, right? You can. I mean, because the graphical part is the same, language is okay, a little bit different, but it's a perception of other people, right? When I was talking to the Expo 2020 team, the head of operation, Rashid, he came to me and said, like, can you build Minecraft world? I'm like, yeah, with my team, I mean, we can build pretty much everything. But how long will it take you? And we gave him the timeline, and then he went to the US. Why? Because there is a guy who only specializes on Minecraft. And for him, in his eyes, it was the specialization, right? And that means it's shorter time. So if you are an expert in something one, that brings you into a completely different level because this is what you communicate. And I think our current modern marketing, sales, and technology world requires it. So if you are looking go into something, so you go into something one and stick with it, right? Because this is what you'll be known for, and this is what people will come to you for, right? Completely different topic. You need to watch. I mean, biggest ones are Roblox and Zepeto. Can you make money in them? Questionable. Depends if you do have a sales out of the in-game sales themselves, right? I mean, it's a big conversation. Like it's a 4-hour conversation on how to make money in Metaverse now, being a creator, because when I was researching Roblox, for example, right, when I wanted to do something in a studio, I found a video when the guy is explaining the whole economy and systems inside the Roblox strategy, and it's a bit weird, right? So it's a 30% we are paying actually to the actual end users, and it's very difficult to go into the top 10, 100 worlds so you can actually being visible by people. Okay, let me go back into this. We'll have a Q&A session so you can ask more. So low poly worlds, there are stylized worlds done by Journey. This is how Webrtc looks like, and there is a realism, like it's surreal events. So all of those guys, Webrtc is a public platform, but those two guys is actually a good example of Metaverse as a service companies. So you open up a company just to create experiences for certain brands, people, reason to be in. So I think the segment which is still like in UAE at least, I think still needs to be discovered is the educational part, and I like Frame VR from that perspective as well. So when it comes down to the designing, right, so you have 3 types. So you can go one route on platform design itself, right? So you can use decentralized builder, Roblox builder, sandbox maker, or you can use multi-purpose apps like Omniverse, Unity, Unreal, plus Blender Cinema to do actual graphics. Or you can go like completely Webrtc and to do Play Canvas, 3JS, Babylon.js. I had a beautiful video here which doesn't work, but you know what I will do? I think I will give you the links. I will online on YouTube. I will give you just the links on that as a pop-ups, right? So formats for a design. I mean, like there are 2 formats which are actually it's one format, just different things within it. GLB and GLTF, read about it. A lot of design applications are supporting them today because they optimized and they made it open, right? And they made it easy to exchange 3D content, right? I think it's just for you to know about it. Now, my favorite. Let's talk of devices in metaverse. I think it's the last one as well. So, VR devices, AR devices, mobile, desktop. Did I miss anything? No, right? I mean, we are rare. So, AR, yeah, I mean AR glasses, right? It's AR device. It's AR device. So, for me, the journey into VR started in 12 years back. So, we were building experiences in VR for different brands. It was for IBM, it was for Google, it was, I mean, I've built for every tech company in general, like their activations. When they go to the exhibition, they were hiring my company to build their experience in VR, right? So I started all the way here, and then it progressed. The most used one, it was the Gear VR Oculus by us because it was portable enough, and we used different sensors on it to track it, track back in time. So the way tracking works, so let's say, for example, I want to put my glasses and I want to walk from this corner to that corner in physical world, but still be transportable, I don't know, like in virtual world. So you couldn't do back in time, right, with those devices. So what did we use? We used the special sensors which used for motion capturing by Hollywood studios when they motion capture the characters. And we just placed those sensors on the headsets, and that made it work, right? But transportation. That industry was all killed by HTC Vive because they kind of released the sensor which costs now $200, and it's you kind of all our investments in like hundreds of thousands dirhams we invested in the proper setup of motion tracking kind of gone, right? Why? Because the technology evolved so fast and quick that it didn't make sense anymore to use that for it. And now HTC Vive has different sets, and it actually can kind of map that room, so you can use it. You cannot use the glass though; it will bounce. But otherwise, you can track your VR headset. And a normal standard VR headset, even after that, I'm talking 2016, right in here on the third image. And currently with Oculus Quest 2. You have already a spot, right? That's your sweet spot where you can play most of the games. But what VR did, it boosted a complete new industry, right? I mean, apart from being just you being immersed into something. Who knows who CodeMiko is? So, okay, watch YouTube, type in CodeMiko. So it's a girl who decided that she's gonna broadcast as a streamer, but not as her face. She's gonna turn into a character and do different weird things, right? I mean, if you are sensitive, I mean, don't watch it. Sexually sensitive, I mean, like that's kind of a crazy thing. She just goes a little overboard. She was banned from Twitch a few times as well. So she put a suit and she turns herself into the character. So you can pay the money. I don't know, like do different things. To her, with her, but nothing like porn, right? I mean, it's a normal stuff. So, so yeah, it boosted a lot of things. And Oculus, I think, kind of led that conversation of humanity with VR, and we are in the middle of a revolution. If you'll talk to the Meta guys, if you'll talk to the HTC guys, I spoke to the marketing manager, and for them, they believe that in the coming 1-2 years, it's going to be even more adopted than now, right? There's going to be even more users when there are in existence. Is it comfortable? I don't know. I personally have PlayStation VR, the Oculus. Do I go on a daily basis? No. I go only then I want to do something entertaining, right? But not into actual daily work. And I think till the day it will not become a reality, I mean, VR headsets are too heavy. So those are the sensors we use, so it's small boxes. Yeah. It's also a video. It's going to be online. So now let's talk about another access to metaverse. Apart from being fully immersed in VR, you can have extended reality using your glasses, right? For sure. And if you haven't watched what Snapchat Spectacles can do, just look at it. It's a very interesting product, and I think it's the first one which actually showed the potential. There are a couple of more products which are Unreal. Oh, that video works. Okay. I don't know. So there is Unreal, and I think in the coming 2-3 years, we will see a lot of experiments by big brands, and we'll see where it takes us. But keep in mind that technology behind VR and AR is kind of the same, because what it does, it allows you to, the new sensor technology allows you to map your surroundings using the depth maps, right? So when you, for example, I'm sitting here, by me being just here, my device can recognize that there is a surface here, there is a surface here, there is it's at the distance of 2 meters, right? What it allows computer real-time rendering to do, to place the depth maps inside the 3D space and then place the objects inside those spaces, right? So that's how it works. The leader in does that work? No, it doesn't. The leader in that conversation now, a company called Niantic. I think you know them by having releasing Pokemon Go, right? But the craziest thing they did, and this is what I wanted to show you. What they did is, when you play Pokemon Go or any of their games, to earn points, they asked you to scan your environment or some public environments, right? When you scan it, it was all collected in the main database. So they end up mapping all the major cities with those 3D maps. As a developer, now, at any point of a world, you can place your marker and bring up your experience. IoT and AR. VR or AR specifically? AR specifically. I saw one case when I was watching a summit of Light SDK. They had one example. They had a pre-function area, and they visualized some data within that area, right? I mean, yeah. I built a lot of data visualization for Cisco. Back in time when the D3 were launched in Dubai. So I built all their analytical system connected to the real-time sensors. And I think it's possible to do in AR today with any of those glasses, to be honest. Like, so it's very easy. But the actual use case, I'm not sure. I don't know. So I want to show you 3 things. This is me running on my table. I built this in 7 minutes using the 8 volt, right? And connected my Ready Player avatar. They have it by default. Took a picture of my face. I mean, for some reason, my beard was very white. I mean, that's not in real life. This is my friend, our friend, who is working on a new Snapchat filter. It's a video as well. Sorry, guys, it doesn't work. But it tracks your hand, the depth of the hand, and you can create the bubbles and throw them and then collect them back, right? And on the right side, there is a project called Artifact, RTFK. So what they did, it's not visible, but it's written as RTFK, right? So what those guys did, they merged AR and NFT. So if you hear today fashion, NFT, AR, so they will be the ones who actually kind of, maybe I wouldn't say started it, but they are the ones who made it digestible and very, very popular, right? So what do? You buy a shoe today in a real store. So what we are saying, the future is behind the digital assets, right? So you can buy a shoe just as a digital, in the digital world. Sorry? Yeah. It's possible. I mean, you can exchange it to the real one or use two at the same time. But then, what do you do with it? I mean, it's all about sharing and being a shareable, right, thing. So they added a filter. So whoever bought their NFT, they had a filter to add as a filter in Snapchat a shoe or a dress, right? So, and it's customizable, it's unique, right? So just look at it. I mean, look around what this project is about. It's an interesting, I think it's a beginning. And I saw a lot of, I'm not sure if you've seen, what was it called? I mean, I went to four events in Dubai. The biggest one was Superverse. In a Superverse event, we were doing a streaming for them. And at the same time, we had the lobby area. And I think half of the projects were about being AR and fashion, right? Why? If you look at the content which is communicated to us by brands through magazines, so online media, and etc., it's all about human perceiving human, right? Now, imagine that you are free to choose. There are companies now which allow you to create, as a brand, you can create your own type of a human, right? Which doesn't exist in the world using AI. Dress it in whatever you want, right? And now, I think around even just that part, the new economy is being built. So you can be a fashion designer for a digital avatars, which normal human use in metaverse, or a brands which use your clothing to dress up their avatars to be used in advertising. And every single point in the chain, you actually, as a creator, you receive a money. So how to, and blockchain and NFTs actually create the trust, right? So you automatically receive those rewards. I'm done. I have few final notes. Today you will face thousands of promises, right? Like millions of projects. How many of them will end up being a reality? I think 5%. So don't, if there is no actual thing, you see the project like, oh my God, you see it, you look at it and you go like, oh, I feel upset, I will not build it because somebody else is building it. You don't know, keep building, right? If you see same idea, keep building, because if it's not launched yet, there is 9% is gonna be failed. Because every single project is unique, so your project is your project. The projects which you see online and they haven't launched yet, not 99, maybe 90%. 90% of them might be not even go into the day when they will be released. Because there are a lot of obstacles, there are a lot of cases when you work on a project and your focus changes, your pivot to something else, you don't find the market fit, you don't find the funding. I mean, as a startup entrepreneur, you go through the phases, right? You go through the phases of being depressed, being happy, knowing technology, thinking that you know nothing, you know everything, and like it's all ups and downs, right? And I think the most important part is to find sometimes a moment when you can just go into Zen and find yourself back and then go back with a new power. But don't let information from outside affect you, because it has nothing to do with your idea, even if it looks exactly the same. I see, my second note is, a final note is, I see that it's going to be a massive clash between two economy systems, one being blockchain crypto economy and our traditional financial setup. I don't know if they can coexist, and I think we will see, right? So this is the second thing. Third thing, I want you to research two things, very cool things, and I kind of jumped into it. One is called earn to play, right? A model. So you play games and you earn crypto. And when I was researching for my own project, and our example was experience to play. So you create some experience for people to play, to earn money, right? So experience to play. So search for those two moments, and there is a big project called Step In. See what it is. You can buy a shoe, walk, and earn money for it, right? So you buy an NFT shoe, so you can buy different types of shoes which have different speed limits. So you walk within a certain speed limit for a certain amount of time, and only when you get a cashback, right? Like, it's just weird. But some people make $400 on it, but you need to spend money, right? As well, like, keep in mind. There is a balance. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, first you need to understand what you're doing. And I believe it all moves into the creators economy. Even if you look, I mean, let's say till February of this year, I was running a team of 75 people, right? Going through the pandemic and etc. I kept my team, but I spent all the cash reserves I had, so I haven't fired anyone. I actually grew my team to an even bigger team. What am I talking about? Yeah, okay. So when I realized in February that it brought up a memories, right? So I mean, I have to switch now. So I realized that the modern world and economy in a modern world works in a way that it's easier to operate and segment. No one is looking for a large corporation to achieve certain thing. It's much easier to run small teams with a very specific task, right, to achieve a certain niche product than running a large one. Because the span of attention for anyone, even in the business sector, to look, unless you build your relationship for years, right, it's a very short. And you need to be very effective if you are trying to do a new startup business. And you need to be, when you build a product, keep in mind that at one point of time, when you are almost finished with your product or with your idea, right, implementing your idea, you need to turn yourself into 90% salesperson and 10% product manager. Keep that in mind. Yeah? There is no way you are gonna succeed by saying, I have an amazing project, everyone will come to me. Forget about it, it's never gonna happen. Right? Because no one knows about your product. It's your responsibility, in front of your product or a service which you are providing, is continuously grow it and sell it. It can be a worst project in the world, but it will be making money because it's sold. It's being brought, let's say, easy enough to a public. So keep in mind how you can get your messaging very short, straight, and make your sales, right? There are a lot of things. I'm following a guy called, oh my God, what was his name? I need to check it. He runs a company, Micro-Acquire, right? It's a portal for selling and buying startups. You check it out. Follow him on Twitter. Very inspirational messages. He runs a lot of interesting things. And his name is Andrew something, but the company is Micro-Acquire. Micro-Acquire. Thank you very much, guys. If you have questions, let's go. On the Unity. Go more precise with a question. What do you mean elaborate on the Unity?
Many startups come up with NFTs. They are developing NFTs for any product, brand, but sometimes they don't have an idea that what will be the utility of that particular NFT.
My suggestion, the question is like, if you are starting something, you are then planning to find a use for it, forget about it. Like, you need to look at the problem first, right? I mean, find the problem and then start building the solution. I think that's the first advice, right? Second advice is don't build something for the industry you don't understand. Like, if you don't understand an industry, then just don't build for that industry. There are different type of startup entrepreneurs. You can be on the business side, you can be on a tech side, right? So you can build yourself, or you can be in a situation when, and it's okay, right? So you can. I think my recommendation on that is, I was watching a video on there is an amazing channel, Y Combinator, on YouTube. I'm not sure if any of you following it. You are, right? And there is check what they said on pivoting. They have the guy has a special formula out of 4 things how to validate your own idea, right? Like, I mean, on the points, and then you can put the points for yourself, like, and decide it. Like, it's just Y Combinator on pivoting, and it will bring up a 25-minute about speech. How you validate your idea to yourself, if it's actually gonna work or not gonna work. So if you have a tech knowledge, if you have a market understanding, if you have, I mean, a couple of more. Please. For a Metaverse project. I mean, okay, there are 2 different sides to look into it, right? So one side is, where is your community? Who are your users? So if you want to attract a certain community of users to discover your product, then you need to decide, for example, which public metaverse you go to. Right? So this is one way of looking at it, right? So let's say Roblox has 42 million of users. I think around 600,000, let's say, or maybe 400,000 from UAE or Middle East. Let's say, let's come. I don't know exact numbers, but approximately. And who are those users? Those users are from my daughter, who is 8 years old now, right, till around 14. Right? Is it your segment? If yes, then you go to a Roblox, you put your experience, advertise that experience, people go into that experience, and then it's your just an hour omni-channel, right? So I mean, it leads into your brand, and it makes them buy something. Within Roblox, you can hire a company to build a basic experience or more advanced experience, but that experience can stay for long, and it's continuously growing. It's not like a one-time investment. It's a continuous thing to be. That's one example. Or if you are looking into, if you already have your existing user base, right? Let's say you have 4,000 people across Middle East who are very close to you, and they believe your brand and your brand fans, then you can build exclusive experience purely for them, right? So you can build your own web page. You can go into editing tools. Let's say even a Frame VR, right? So in Frame VR, we built, for example, one product showroom store just for fun, just to see how it's going to work. So you can take that store, copy paste it free, place your objects in 3D, hire a student 3D designer. They will build it for you at a very effective cost. Place your objects inside with links to your website. This is yours, and you can communicate with those guys. You can host your weekly sessions talking about certain topics you want, and it's going to be in 3D, right? And it's at no cost, right? Again, like, it's a very minimal cost. Or you can go to something called Spatial. Spatial also allows you to do that, and I think potentially for you as a brand, you will find it more attractive, right? So Spatial could be your thing, right? And again, it's $25 a month. That's what it costs. And when you have a designer, let's say you spend an hour 5,000 dirhams on building up the models when you are in a metaverse. That's it. And then you decide. This is if you have that community. So it's either you are trying to attract community from the project itself, like a Roblox, Zepeto, etc. So this is one route. If you want to build your own project, this is a completely second route. And if you want to have a highly customizable thing, then you hire a company. If you don't want highly customizable thing, then you go into an existing public platforms like Zepeto or Spatial or FrameVR, or yeah, you don't need to build from scratch, right? I mean, like you don't need to hire a developer. There are enough projects today for you to start experimenting. And by time, you will find that you will understand why you need it. And then at that point of time, you go like, I want my own app, right? And here you go, like Nike in Roblox, but completely my own. Because it has certain limitations, right? It's a question of a control, which I was talking about. So you don't control in Roblox, they can block you. You don't control in other, but your app you can control. So this is well, those questions, like more deep questions you would be answering by time, because your revenue maybe will grow, your base will grow. You know what happened, for example, to Russian Instagram when the war started? There were guys, successful bloggers in Instagram. They were making the living out of Instagram, right? So they had 500 followers, 500,000 followers, 1 million followers. In one day, that their life kind of ended, right? Because Instagram got blocked in Russia, and they got blocked to the rest of the world. I don't know, like so. That's a question of a control. Like me, Russian, I think like I feel sorry for Ukraine, and I'm completely against the war. But what Europe did to Russians living outside of the world, in one day I lost all of my money, right? Like all the bank accounts were blocked. So I mean, it's just, but going back to the block economy, I think this is why I believe there is I want to be the one who owns the money. I don't want a bank to own the money, right? I don't want anyone to control my wealth and because my family depends on it. So I mean, this is what the cryptocurrency potentially can bring. Full of scam as well, right? I mean, so don't understand the current. Look, there need to be regulations, right? I mean, I believe that there are going to be choices made in the coming, I think, 3-4 years, which will make our world a very different place in the 10 years. Very different. And you know what? We will not know if those choices were correct or not till actually we will reach later. I think our kids are going to be the ones who are going to be affected the most by those choices. And I think everyone's responsibility today, and I think going back to the topic of metaverse, I think it's our responsibility to establish those rules as well. We think that we don't have actual effect, but we do. We do have an effect on what's going to go through or not. Because we are the ones who are building up the startups. We are the ones who are building up the projects, right? Cool, more questions? Yes.
AR, VR, IoT, and metaverse. Treat people with Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Data mapping.
Yeah.
Regular environments. Teaching them to work without.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah.
That we know that I could tell them that how they could enhance this process. With the neurosurgeon and the expert.
Do you mean if I know any company or technology? I mean, okay. Technology. Let me. I mean, okay. So there are two sides. One is you can find a programmer, even in your university, where a person, let's say, who knows Unity, right? Or person who knows, I think, electronic engineering, like Android, Arduino. They're programmers and stuff. any other use cases. For the sensors, you mean? I see what you're saying now. Yeah, I don't know. I think, see, we as humans, I think sometimes we are trying to overcomplicate things, and we are forgetting about the very basic things like of just being visual enough, because something small actually solves a massive problems, and we never look into it because it looks too simple, right? And I think finding your own thing and understanding the one specific industry actually helps you to build it correctly and find it in a much easier, faster way. More questions? Yeah. Very good question. Actually, I was looking at it yesterday. We are building something as well. So keep in mind that content in Metaverse, there are two different sides into it, right? One is actual 3D content. And all 3D tools already have a solution for it. It's called collision maps, right? So you can create a collision object which can be triggered to record a thing, right? So you can connect it even to your Google Analytics, right? And second thing, you still bring 2D pages into the 3D environment, so same impression counts, right? So, I mean, I see at least those two things. On the video side, when we do video side, you can go even deeper. Let's say you can trigger a certain statistical element only 90% of a video watched, or if person watches a video from 0 to 90, right, you have, to 100%, so this is your point count. So here is at 0, here is at 100 points. So you can do different things. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you had fun. Thank you.